Two Lonely Souls Scene 4. Molly was waddling and she felt the heavy and sticky diaper between her legs, but the feeling wasn't unpleasant for her. She also was looking forward to the upcoming change. Back in the pension room, Amy took off the jacket and turned to Molly. "Well, time to change you. We have some time left until dinner and I borrow a sled. It would be fun." "Okay, Amy," Molly smiled widely. Amy removed Molly's boots, unzipped the overall and helped her take it off. Molly lied down on her bed and waited. "Wait, sweetheart, we need a changing pad." Amy brought a changing pad. Molly lifted her behind and lied down again. Amy pulled down her tights and revealed the full diaper. Fortunately it didn't leak, but Molly's crotch was smeared with poop from back to front. "Molly, didn't you really mind that thick and full diaper?" "No, Amy," Molly grinned at Amy. "How so?" Amy was cleaning Molly's crotch with baby wipes. "It is comfy and soft." "You are a smart girl, Molly. You could go to potty if you learned it. You've learned more words, eating and dressing." "No please." Molly did puppy eyes on Amy and Amy shrugged only. "Potty training could wait." Amy cleaned Molly and was about to put the diaper on her when Molly did puppy eyes again. "Dick dear pee please." "Why, sweetheart? We don't go that far and come back earlier." "I weekay Dick dear pee." "Okay, but we don't have that many of them. You need them for the night. You get more." "Wait, I'll check how many there are in the package." Amy was a bit amused by Molly's request. Despite her intelligence, the small girl liked the diapers, refused the potty training and required the thick package. There were thick nighttime diapers for every night and a few spare ones in the package, so Amy couldn't fulfill the request. "Sweetheart, we drive to the town tomorrow and buy some more." Amy leaned down and kissed Molly's forehead. "Until then I can't give you the thick DP until night." She wasn't enthusiastic about spending a day in the town, but she didn't want to disappoint the little girl. "Okay, Amy." Molly stayed calm surprisingly. She probably was a bit more mature than expected and didn't throw a temper tantrum. Suddenly an idea hit Amy. She took a second diaper and put it over the first one but didn't tape it shut. The tights were able to hold the loose diaper and the package was as thick as Molly liked. "Thanks, Amy." Molly smiled widely, sat up and kissed Amy instinctively. Amy hugged her and kissed her forehead again. After dressing Molly, they walked to the reception desk and Amy borrowed a sled. Molly was staring at the strange thing and Amy had to explain her. "Sweetheart, you can sit down on it and ride down the slope. I'll show you it in a jiffy." They walked towards a small hill behind the pension and Amy passed the pulling line to Molly. "Molly, pull the sled uphill." She stepped forward and Molly followed her. As they got to the top, Amy stopped. "Molly, sit down and I sit down behind you." She pointed at the sled front. Molly sat down and Amy sat down behind her and propelled the sled forward. They sped up and slid down the hill. Amy kept driving the sled by her legs and stopped it finally. "Amy, that great." Molly was enthusiastic. "Okay, sweetheart, let's ride again." Amy passed the line to Molly and they climbed the hill for the second time. "Molly, try to drive with your legs just like I did it." Amy showed Molly how to drive the sled. Molly nodded and she tried to keep the sled straight as much as possible with Amy's help. 2 rides later they climbed halfway only and Amy let Molly ride on her own. The little girl sat down and Amy pushed her forward. "Wee!" Molly screamed in joy and slid down the hill. She understood how to drive and how to stop. Molly did several more rides until she got exhausted and stopped. "I know more." She was panting heavily. Amy took the line and pulled the sled back to the pension to return it. Back in their room, Amy helped Molly out of the overall and Molly managed to take off the pullover and she also pulled the tights down to her knees and laid down on the bed. The loose outer diaper fell down to the ground and she realized how wet she was. Her diaper was soaked and she didn't remember when she peed while having fun at sled riding. Amy looked at Molly and realized her sweaty face and body. "Sweetheart, you should take a shower before dinner. Take off the tights if you handle it. Molly nodded and she pulled the tights down to her ankles and finally removed them even if she turned it upside down. Amy removed her diaper and led her to the shower. Molly, I set up the warm water and you could try to wash yourself. I'll show you how to do it. Step inside and let the water rinse the sweat. Amy waited and put Molly the shower gel, put it onto your palm and smear it all over your body. Molly nodded and she managed to soap herself and rinse again. Let me help you with your hair, it is more tricky. Amy washed Molly's hair. Next time I wash. Molly looked at Amy and Amy smiled at her. After the shower, Amy wrapped Molly into a large towel, dried her off and put a clean diaper on her before drying her hair. Sweetheart, sit down and I dry your hair now. As soon as Molly's hair was dry, Amy undressed and headed towards the shower. Molly, you can put on the dress. If you want to, try to put on the tights. However, take a clean pair. Amy pointed at the cabinet. Amy hurried up, she didn't want to leave Molly unattended for long. Anyway, she didn't have to worry, the little girl was busy putting on the tights. It really was tricky. Surprisingly, she managed it after 2 or 3 attempts and the dress wasn't a real problem. Molly also forgot about the thick diaper while struggling with the tights. The dinner was uneventful and there were no more complaints from the first couple even if they ignored Amy and Molly. On the other hand, Molly used a normal cup instead of a sippy cup and Amy showed her how to use a fork. Molly's motor skills were quite good and she kept improving with Amy's help. After dinner they encountered the older couple and Molly turned to the lady. We today high Mountie, she said enthusiastically and pointed upwards. I see that many Mountie, she spread her arms. The older lady stroked Molly's hair and smiled at her. You had fun, sweetheart. Yeah, much fun. Molly instinctively took the lady at hand. Instead of staying in the hall they headed to the common room. There were books and table games on the shelves and Molly got interested in them. She browsed the table games and brought Ludo to Amy. What is this, Amy? This is a game. Maybe I can show you how to play it later when we can't go outside. Amy was curious about Molly's abilities. Playing Ludo required counting, but Molly had shown a lot of intelligence and she might be able to handle counting up to 6. Amy remembered when Molly showed her one finger to tell her how many times she had peed in her diaper. Amy took off the die and showed Molly 1 dot and stretched 1 finger. Then she showed 3 dots and stretched 3 fingers. Molly, your turn. Amy showed 2 dots. Molly looked at Amy and stretched 2 fingers. Right, sweetheart. Amy showed 5 dots and Molly stretched all 5 fingers. Amy showed 6 dots and her heart was beating fast. Molly stretched all 5 fingers on her right hand and stopped. Something was wrong. She got confused and looked at Amy and the lady. The old lady smiled only and poked Molly's left arm. The little girl got the message instantly, nodded and stretched 1 more finger on her left hand. My smart girl. Amy hugged Molly and a tear appeared in her eye. The old lady took the die and turned to Molly. Molly, this is 1. She showed 1 dot and continued. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Molly listened and tried to remember it. 1. She stretched 1 finger. Right, Molly. 2. Dwee, fur. Molly was enthusiastic and considered it a game. She was able to focus on counting for about half an hour until she got bored. Amy was astonished by Molly and she was sure that the little girl was not retarded. Molly yawned and Amy looked at her watch. It was getting late. Sorry, Molly should go to bed already. She took Molly at hand and left. Good night. Do night, Molly repeated the greeting. Sweetheart, could you undress yourself and I'll change you then? Did you pee in your diaper? Amy asked Molly in their room. Molly shrugged. Her diaper was heavy and wet but she didn't remember when she peed. She was distracted by the dinner and learning and peed involuntarily. Okay, no problem. Amy smiled but she realized it was about to be an issue later. Anyway, she ignored it for now and changed Molly into the thick nighttime diaper. Molly put on the pajama and lied down in Amy's bed. "I sleep with you." "Of course, sweetheart," Amy smiled, changed into her pajamas and lied down next to Molly. Her eyes closed quickly just like Molly's.